Hey everybody, this is Adam D'Angeli from Michigan United for Liberty, and in this video, we're going to talk about the event we're planning for this Sunday at the Capitol in Lansing. If you're not familiar with our organization, we've organized several of the previous demonstrations at the Capitol, but this one coming up is going to be a bit different, so we're going to talk a little bit about strategy, what we're hoping to accomplish, and then how we're going to go about doing that, hopefully answering questions you may have about how it's all going to go. If you haven't been to one of our demonstrations in Lansing, and we organized the very first one back on April 7th, you probably have some hesitation about participating in one now, but that's why the media report on them the way that they do. That's why the governor and now the attorney general are threatening people that want to go exercise their God-given, constitutionally protected rights. They want you to be afraid so that you don't come. That's really all there is to it. But if you have been to a freedom rally in Lansing these past 2 months, you know why these are so important and effective. They're nothing like the media reported. Just being there, the events are liberating in and of themselves. Remember what it was like the day before the April 15th Operation Gridlock demonstration? The streets were practically empty. Everyone was curled up in their homes, staring at four walls in a state of total fear. People hadn't seen other people in a month. It wasn't just our jobs and the economy. They robbed us of our humanity. But on April 15th, when tens of thousands of people came to Lansing, it was like the spell was broken right there on the spot. Suddenly, the city was alive again. The streets were filled with vehicles, with people, very loud people, proclaiming their freedom, waving the American flag, people in the road, people at the Capitol making a ruckus, all in defiance of Governor Whitmer's orders that we surrender our freedom and allow her to destroy our state unchallenged. Everyone there was immediately filled with passion and energy. The spell was broken. And almost immediately, because of the media reporting on it, people everywhere, all over the country, woke up. Demonstrations broke out everywhere, and people started going back to work. I heard from a friend, his friend in Romania told him that after seeing the news reports of people in Michigan, people in Romania began to defy their lockdown. It's amazing. Think how different things would be if there were no demonstrations. If the government had imposed the most extreme, outrageous, and destructive abolition of our most cherished civil liberties, and the people collectively just stayed home and accepted it. All Americans with the smallest flame of liberty in their hearts would think, I guess there's nothing we can do. But instead, the Patriots came out. We came out in numbers, and we did the thing Governor Whitmer hates the most. We ignored her, and we made fun of her. And it broke the spell. So that was one rally. But what about the others? Well, after that first historic rally, we were attacked by the governor and attacked in the media. And let me be clear, all that nastiness only served to prove how effective the rally was. We had absolutely no illusions about how the media was going to portray us. It didn't matter. All the coverage only served to amplify our message. But now we have a new reason to have another demonstration. We had to make the point. We're not going away. We're not going to be bullied, browbeaten, or threatened by the elites into shutting up. It wasn't just a flash in the pan. So we had more rallies on April 30th and 2 weeks later on May 14th. And both times we made the point we're not going to be intimidated. We're not going away. We're not going to be threatened by the governor's empty words. Now we're entering the next phase. We don't want to just host demonstration after demonstration because we have to be driving forward, not just doing the same thing over and over. Let's take a moment and kind of put this all in perspective. The governor's orders are the most radical, extreme, and destructive takeaway of civil liberties in our country's living memory, and the devastation has been total. The economic damage alone, just that one aspect, is absolutely catastrophic. Anyone who's ever been unemployed, and there are now over 1 million people in Michigan unemployed, that's more than 1 in 10, could tell you how miserable it is. There's no worse feeling than being unable to provide for yourself and your family. Every day it eats away at your soul. The businesses that Governor Whitmer has destroyed were people's life work. And it's not just the business owners and the people they employ, it's the lifeblood of the whole community. But of course, it's much worse than even that. It's the sudden, total destruction of our whole way of life. Shutting down schools, shutting down churches, shutting down restaurants and all form of nightlife, ordering people stay in their homes, order people stay away from each other, ordering people wear masks over their faces. All of this is totally dehumanizing. And the one excuse the governor has for doing all of this, that what she's doing is saving lives, is complete nonsense when you consider what damage all of this has to the public health. Depression, suicide, drug and alcohol abuse, all of these things skyrocket when you destroy people's sanity. On top of that, people aren't going to see their doctors because the media has made them paranoid and people with serious conditions aren't getting diagnosed before it's too late. The evidence is becoming clearer that the coronavirus threat has been exaggerated. It's a serious illness, but there are a lot of serious illnesses that we didn't destroy our country trying to fight. And of course, the governor's orders have had nothing to do with protecting the public health at all. First, there was a completely idiotic order that people couldn't buy gardening supplies or flooring at the hardware store. Then there was the ban on boating, for which our governor has just proven she's an unbelievable hypocrite. And of course, most ridiculous of all, ordering the public to wear masks, which probably actually encourages the spread of the coronavirus. Because people wearing masks are doing the worst thing, touching their faces constantly. People aren't wearing masks once and throwing them out like doctors do. They're wearing the same mask all day and touching their faces to adjust it all the time. The number one way to spread the illness is for people to get it on their hands and then bring it up to their face. It's profoundly dehumanizing and utterly stupid, but that's the government for you. And all of it, is wildly unconstitutional and therefore unlawful. No emergency statute can overrule the state constitution or the U.S. Constitution and Bill of Rights. People have a right to free speech and free assembly. They have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This is the total breakdown of our constitutional order. People aren't just upset because our governor is a tyrant. With every passing day, our state is being actively destroyed by her orders. This is madness, and it must be made to stop. The demonstrations in Lansing are critical because they send a powerful message that the people aren't taking this lying down. And Michigan United for Liberty, by the way, is doing a lot more than just organizing demonstrations. We have a lawsuit pending against the governor and the emergency powers law itself for its complete and total violation of our constitutional separation of powers. We filed an amicus brief as well in the State House and Senate's lawsuit against the governor. And soon we'll be rolling out more programs for people to contact their lawmakers and maybe to collect signatures for a citizen-enacted repeal of the emergency powers law. All of that we'll be announcing very soon. But first, we have one more demonstration coming up, and that's this Sunday in Lansing. And this is going to be different from our previous demonstrations, because like I said, we need to keep pushing forward. As the lockdown's weeks have turned to months, the devastation is piling up, and people are now starting to actively resist the tyranny. The biggest story has been Carl Mankey, the barber in Owasso, who refused to obey the shutdown order. Mankey fought and won his right to do business. The circuit court judge ruled in his favor and against Gretchen Whitmer and Attorney General Dana Nessel, who promptly threw a fit and attacked Mankey, calling him selfish. Selfish for wanting to earn a living. And here again, disobedience has revealed how empty, how hollow the government's threats are. So this demonstration coming up, we don't want to simply stand around and be mad. We want to lead by example, to encourage the heroes who put themselves and their livelihoods on the line, standing up to the governor's unconstitutional orders. And we also want to strike a more positive tone. It's okay to be negative. People can and should be furious about what's going on. But positivity is important. It's about hope and courage triumphing over the fear and hatred coming from Gretchen Whitmer and Dana Nessel. So in the great American spirit of freedom and independence, we're throwing a fair at the Capitol. Food, gifts, and other goods for sale, and most importantly, live music. That's one thing our previous demonstrations haven't had. Sure, we played music over the loudspeakers, but that's not the same. And this goes back to what I was saying about breaking the spell. One of the things driving everyone crazy is the complete lack of socialization that comes with going out to see a show and to appreciate the arts. Nobody's been to a concert in over 2 months now. It's not the first thing that comes to mind when you think about how we've all been impacted by this. But when people see a live band playing at the Capitol, they'll realize what they've been missing. And that's going to break the spell that people are still under, that things can never be normal again. They can be, and they have to be. Incidentally, one of the other things about our last several events, we've had lousy weather. Snow on April 15th, rain on April 30th, and a downpour on May 14th. We need a sunny day in Lansing, and it looks like the weather's going to be beautiful this weekend. So we're looking forward to putting on an event where we revive our great state's spirit of freedom. We're going to show people what this is really all about. It's the creators versus the destroyers. That's what Gretchen Whitmer and Dana Nessel are. They're destroyers. Whitmer has done more to destroy our state in 3 months than all governors and legislatures in the past 50 years or more combined. We're going to show that they cannot break the people's spirit. So now that we've explained what we're doing, let's go into the details, because I know a lot of people are wondering how this is all going to play out. Are people going to get in trouble with police and what have you? Let me start with this point. Every demonstration we've had, there have been rumors that anyone that shows up is going to be arrested or even quarantined. But every time, it's been just fine. April 15th, people were saying, they're going to close off the streets, lock down the whole city of Lansing. They're going to throw everyone in quarantine. You won't be able to go home for 3 weeks. But what happened? Nobody got arrested. Nothing happened. I think I heard one left-winger got arrested trying to start a fight. But that was it. 10,000 demonstrators, no arrests. April 30th, Gretchen Whitmer is escalating her threats. She knows these demonstrations make her look weak. And Gretchen Whitmer is absolutely controlled by her insecurity. She says anyone who breaks the law is going to be arrested. And of course, to her, everyone disobeying her unlawful orders, everyone exercising their First Amendment rights, is a criminal. But once again, what happened? Nobody got arrested. Demonstrators went inside the Capitol as their right, and a small number of them were quite loud, but still, nobody was arrested. May 14th, Whitmer is furious. The people aren't obeying her commands. Another demonstration. She threatens anyone brandishing a firearm will be arrested. Well, what actually happened? Nobody brandished a firearm. And nothing happened. Several people came openly carrying. Not one was arrested. May 20th. Now Dina Nessel is making threats. Hundreds come to Lansing for haircuts at the Capitol. What happened? Police gave a few tickets to people giving out haircuts for disorderly conduct. And now for the first time, a few people are actually facing real threats from the state. But does that mean people should be worried about our event on Sunday? Well, let's think about this for a moment. What's most likely going to happen for those that got tickets at the event last week? First off, nothing's going to happen for a long time because the courts are shut down, which incidentally is another terrible problem with this lockdown. Courts serve a compelling public interest. There's a saying, justice delayed is justice denied. It's absolutely crazy the governor orders weed stores are an essential service, but courts are not. But what are you going to do? Our governor is insane. In this case, though, the lockdown for the courts works in our favor. It means those who got tickets have plenty of time. In all likelihood, they will have no trouble crowdfunding their legal defense. And they're not going to have difficulty finding a good attorney wanting to make a name for himself as a champion of freedom, who's going to give them a great deal. And when they finally do get to court, months from now, they will almost certainly win. Everything in the court system is designed to benefit the defendant. And in their cases, the facts and the law are clearly on our side, entirely. I'm not a lawyer, by the way. This is not legal advice. These are just observations about how this works. The case could get dismissed by the judge. The prosecution has to show that they committed disorderly conduct. They didn't. The defense could argue they were exercising their First Amendment rights and disturbed nobody but the governor and attorney general, who were not even there. Even if the case goes to trial, there's a likelihood a jury would not convict. Even if they do, their cases could still get overturned on appeal. Even if convicted, which again is extremely unlikely. It's even more extremely unlikely, on top of that, they'd even spend a day in jail. That would be unheard of. And if all that even happened, they'd be seen as heroes. And Gretchen Whitmer and Dina Nessel for the villains that they are. I don't think any of this is even possible, though. If it were to happen, the damage to Whitmer and Nessel is devastating to them. They'd be seen as the spiteful, vicious, nasty people that they are. Bottom line, all the threats are nothing more than bullying tactics. They're using their power to try to intimidate the people. All the more reason it is so critical that we show them we're not afraid. We will not be intimidated by their empty threats. So how is this all going to work? We're going to start at 1 p.m. Sunday afternoon. The Capitol will be closed, so there's no reason for police to even be there. The Capitol is public space, so we cannot control who shows up. We don't have a reservation. There is no reservation system. It's public property. We can't turn anybody away. It's their space as much as ours. We're asking people to register at our website, MichiganUnitedForLiberty.com, so we can know how many people to expect and try to coordinate logistics. One thing to know, we're not giving out the names or identities of anyone that registers without their express permission. As you might know, people who hate freedom often organize mobs on the internet to try to attack people they don't like, so we're not going to give them that. Now, maybe you want to promote your business. That's entirely your decision. You can announce you're coming, you can put a sign up at your booth, or you could do neither and just set up a table with your wares and not tell anybody who you are. It's entirely up to you. The Capitol lawn is first come, first served, but on a Sunday in Lansing, it's very unlikely anybody else is going to be there. Still, it's always good to arrive early. You can get a better parking space. Parking is free in Lansing, by the way. They haven't enforced a meter since the lockdown started. And that's basically all there is to it. One rule to be aware of, they prohibit putting stakes in the ground for tents, so if you have a tent, you need to use sandbags to hold it in place. And the Capitol doesn't give out free electricity, so if you need power, bring a generator. The only thing people might be concerned about is that the Capitol says people aren't allowed to sell things on Capitol property. Because when has anyone ever sold anything on public property, right? Other than the Ann Arbor Art Fair, of course. Oh, and Arts Beats and Eats. Oh, and the Dally in the Alley. In Clint's hot dog stand right across the street from the Capitol, on the sidewalk in front of Lansing City Hall. Sure, selling things on public property, strictly prohibited. But seriously, though, again, we don't know how they're going to try to enforce any rules. They have no reason to, other than to send a message how much they hate our freedom. But one thing you could do if you're concerned about that possibility is not sell merchandise for cash. You could do IOUs on the honor system, or just set things aside and conduct the transaction online when you're back home. Or maybe you just want to showcase your craft. Maybe you're a massage therapist. They've had events at the Capitol where massage therapists give massages to lawmakers and their staff. Just go be a part of the event and showcase your practice. Or you know what else you can do? Just don't be afraid. Go out and exercise your inherent constitutionally protected freedom. The worst that can happen really isn't that bad. Think about what Americans of previous generations have done to secure the blessings of liberty. The Founding Fathers put their lives on the line. They went to war. In the Civil Rights era, black Americans faced beatings, jailings, even lynchings for exercising their rights. And in fact, Martin Luther King led the ultimately successful effort by teaching people, whatever you're most afraid of doing, go out and do it. Go down ahead to City Hall, try to register to vote, even if they say no, even if they take your name down. Go ahead and sit at that lunch counter. Sue the local school board. All the things that most black people would have said back then, without exaggeration, were stark raving insane and would get you killed. If we all do it together, we'll be okay. They actually coached young people how to crouch, to cover their heads with their arms and take the beating. They taught people how to go to jail, which terrified most decent people. And you know what? The worst of the worst wasn't all that bad. They sang freedom songs in jail, and that's what ultimately ended the reign of terror for black people in the South. That is Martin Luther King's legacy. So today, our tyrannical government orders our livelihoods destroyed, our economy ravaged, orders us all to go home and become hermits. And people are afraid of getting a few tickets? It's just embarrassing. Look, folks, there's only one way to be perfectly safe, and that's to do nothing. And of course, in the long run, that's not real safety. That's what got us where we are today. So please, if you love liberty, if you want to defend it, you have to face the governor's threats. And they're really sad and pathetic threats when you get down to it. But we have to do this. Nobody else is going to do it for us. So we hope you'll join us. Go to MichiganUnitedForLiberty.com. You can RSVP for the event if you're going to attend. If you're planning to table, please fill out the vendor form just so we can coordinate the logistics and everything else. And help us promote the event, because we don't have Facebook anymore. We've been censored. You can actually sign up for our email list at MichiganUnitedForLiberty.com. So for all the great things we've got coming up, we can keep in touch with you. We hope you do that. And of course, you can also contact us if you have any questions. Email us at info@MichiganUnitedForLiberty.com. So thanks everybody for listening to this. I hope we have a great event on Sunday. I hope we make history once again. It's going to be very exciting, and it's an honor to be working with so many great people who are fighting to reclaim our liberties. We hope you join us. It's going to be a great time. See you then.